In this lesson, you are going to learn about compositions. Everything you do in After Effects is built inside of a composition. Understanding the basics and the fundamentals of compositions is going to unlock everything you do in After Effects. Every time you start a new project in After Effects, the first step in your workflow is to create a new composition. A new composition in After Effects is similar to creating a new document in Photoshop. A composition, often just called a comp, is just a container for your layers and animations. The footage become layers, and you animate the layers on a timeline. The composition window, layers panel, and timeline make up a composition. Unlike projects, where you can only have one After Effects project open at a time, you can create as many compositions as you want inside of a project. And you can even nest compositions inside of other compositions to create some really complex animations. A key concept to understand in After Effects is that every composition has its own timeline. When you open a composition by double-clicking on it in the project panel, it will open in its own timeline. So it has its own layers panel, its own timeline that can be animated independently from other compositions, and its own canvas or stage where you can add and assemble footage. You open Adobe After Effects. You are now in a new untitled project. To develop good habits, the first thing you're going to do is save the new project. So you go to File, Save As, Save As. You've already created your master project folder because you just duplicated the template that you already set up. You're going to go into the project files folder or whatever you named it. Give your After Effects project a name. Click Save. And now step 1 in your workflow is to create a new composition. You have two main options when creating new compositions. You either create the composition where you tell After Effects what the settings are, or you can create a composition from footage. So you can select one or multiple footage files, and After Effects is going to create the composition settings based on the footage. You'll probably click on this button, New Compositions the most, so we'll start there. You can click this button and fill out the information to create a new composition. You can also right-click in the project panel and choose New Composition. There's also a button at the bottom of the project panel, Create a New Composition. And if you look at the icon of that button, that is going to be the same icon whenever you create a new composition. So you should get familiar with what that looks like. And then you can go to the top menu, Composition, New Composition, and there's a must-know keyboard shortcut, Command or Control-N. That will bring up the composition dialog box. To keep your projects organized, give your composition a name. There's a preset menu, which includes a bunch of popular presets for videos and animations. I'll select this first one, HD, 1920 by 1080 pixels. Keep it at square pixels, 24 frames per second. I keep the resolution full, start timecode 0, and duration, this is how long the timeline is in the composition. And to read timecode, it's hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. So this says 30 seconds. If I want the duration of the timeline to be 10 seconds, an easy way to do that is type 10, comma, or 10 period. It's the same. If I tap the tab key, now I have a 10-second duration timeline. If I want it to be a minute, 60, comma, or 60 period tab. Now it's set to a minute. I'm going to change this to 10 seconds. So 10, comma, tab. Now I'm going to have a 10-second timeline. The background color of a composition, this is confusing when you first get started, but this color is just a visual placeholder to help you while you're designing a composition. So you don't see a transparent grid. You can choose a color if it's easier on your eyes while you're designing a composition. But this background color does not get rendered when you export a composition from After Effects. So you just double click, choose any color. You can also enter in a hex code here. There's also a little eyedropper tool. You can just drag around your screen to eyedrop a color. Once you have your settings in your composition, you click OK, and you just created a new composition. If you look below this composition window, there's a little icon with a checkerboard. That's the toggle transparency grid button. And if you click that and you see the transparency grid, that confirms to you that the blue color you're seeing, or whatever color you have, is just the placeholder composition color. Now, if you were to add what is called a solid, so this is a common way that you would add a solid background color. Now, if you click the transparency grid, you do not see the transparency grid, so that tells you that this color is going to be rendered or visible when you export the composition. And if you want to change the color at any time, or if you want to change any of the settings from your new composition, you're going to go to the composition menu and go to composition settings. And this is a must-know keyboard shortcut, Command or Control K. That's going to bring up the same composition settings that you used to set it up. You can change anything you want about the composition. So maybe you want to change the frame rate, maybe you want to change the color to something different. And if you make changes to one of the composition presets, well, you can save your own custom preset. Just click on the little icon, give your preset a name, click OK, click OK. Then the next time you create a new composition, just click the preset menu, select your custom preset to save you a whole bunch of time. And if you ever want to delete one of your custom presets, just select it and click on the trash can. And for the second option, new composition from footage, I'll click that. I'm going to navigate to my footage folder, select footage, and After Effects is going to create the composition settings based on the information from the footage file. So I'm going to keep this checked to create composition. I'll click open. A composition was created. You can see it in the project panel. There's that icon, the same icon as below. So I know this is the composition and this is the footage file. I can see the footage information up here. Now if I press Command or Control K to bring up composition settings, all of this information is based off the footage file. I'm going to select these, tap the delete key to go back to the screen. I'll click it again. This time I'll select a still image. So I'll select this logo. I have Create Composition checked. Click Open. After Effects created a composition the exact same dimensions as this logo file. I'll click it again. This time I'm going to select a whole bunch of files. I'm holding the Shift key so I can select multiple files. I have Create Composition checked. I'm going to click Open. What's going to happen? Well, After Effects is really smart. I can choose one single composition, and I can choose what I want it to base the composition off of, which footage file, or I can select multiple compositions, so I can create a composition for every one of those selected footage files. And I can even tell After Effects how long I want all of the still images to be on the timeline. Pretty cool. And if you've imported footage into the project panel, you can create new composition from footage by just selecting a footage layer. You can drag it right into the center of the composition window or on the layers panel. And once I let go, a composition has been created. If you want to check the settings, go to Composition, Composition Settings, or use Command or Control K. And you can also create compositions from footage if you right-click, choose New Composition from Selection. That will also create a composition based on the footage. And finally, you can select a footage file and drag it onto the New Composition button at the bottom. That will also create a new composition. And to open new compositions, all you have to do is just double-click in the composition panel. It will open up in the timeline. Compositions are a big deal in After Effects. If you look at the menus, you'll see most everything is grayed out because you cannot do anything in After Effects until you create a new composition. Just think of compositions as individual parts of your overall project. They're like chapters in a book or scenes in a movie. Now, you might just use one composition for your entire project. That's fine. Or you might find yourself using multiple compositions. This is one composition in my After Effects project. Here I have another composition. This is just another clip, another scene, another piece of my After Effects project puzzle. Remember, you can create as many new compositions as you want inside of each After Effects project. Compositions are their own separate document or container. So each composition can have their own unique settings. You can have different sizes, frame rates, durations, and just mix and match compositions any way you want. You can easily duplicate compositions. So maybe you build a composition, you want to make a variation of it. Just select it in the project panel, press Command or Control D. Now you've got a duplicate of that composition. You can preserve the original. Just get comfortable creating new compositions. Opening compositions, all you have to do is just double click on them in the project panel. They'll open up in their own timeline. You can open up multiple compositions. If you want to rearrange them down in the timeline, just click and drag. Click on the hamburger menu for more options. A composition in the project panel works just like any other media or footage file. You can drag something like a logo, it's going to show up on your comp window. The same with a composition. You just drag it down into your timeline. The composition works just like any other clip. You just move it wherever you want it to show up on your timeline. And when you want to edit a composition, remember, a composition is really just a nested group of layers. So all you have to do is just double click. That opens that composition on its own timeline. And you're going to find that you have compositions nested inside of other compositions, and you just continue to double click on a composition, open it up on its timeline, edit it. When you close it back down, it updates the changes in the main comp. And the keyboard shortcut you really have to learn is Command or Control K. That brings up composition settings. This is something you're going to do all the time. And if you forget that keyboard shortcut, composition settings. In the next lesson, you are going to learn the secret to importing Photoshop.psd files and Illustrator.ai files into After Effects.